All right, we're back. Judd'z Budz, episode, God damn it, 130. Wayne Gretzky plus Capo Kakinen episode. There you go. Before that, I think Matt Hackett was the last one to wear 31. I think, off the top of my head. No mainstays as number 31s, but anyways, who cares? As always, your host, Spokesy, joined by my good buddy, Mr. at State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how are you doing today?
I can't tell by the way you said that if you just like all of a sudden got excited or if there was like an implication there of like things that I clearly have an answer to that question. How are you doing today?
I mean, I would imagine you do have some kind of reaction because we can skip all the little, I mean, realistically, we always say, like, well, we'll start a little small talk here. That we just never do. We just say something dumb and then immediately whatever we're talking about. But I mean, the great 8-7, sticking with 8.7 million. Talk about it. Sidney Crosby re-signs with the Pittsburgh Penguins. The most team-friendly contract history ever. Like his whole fucking career.
I mean, people forget Nathan McKinnon took a huge discount to play for the Colorado Avalanche, and it had nothing to do with his early woes in the league. I don't know. We've talked about this a ton. I think it is awesome and hilarious and borderline expected that it's 8.7, but I've been on record, like, if he wants to play somewhere else, I support him doing so. If he wants to play 2 more years of the Penguins, if he wants to play 10 more years of the Penguins, do whatever this guy says, give him the key to the city. That the team should be his. But the 8.7 is pretty hilarious. I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy that he's not number like 110.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a good point. That'd be
could be bad.
The NHL would make an exception. Like, fine, all right. It's sick. This guy, we'll give him a triple digit.
He says he's gonna leave.
I mean, it is incredible though that he just could not help himself. The only things that apparently came up in the middle, like, there's no going back and forth with the agent on dollar amount. Apparently, it was just like the term thing, and like the Penguins, like, how about 3 or 4 years? And he was like, I'm comfortable with 2. And it's like,
so he's been.
That's what I was just going off what Drager said.
He's been pretty outspoken. Like, he does not want to sign a contract that's too long and somehow like have cap ramifications for the team if he retires. I have a feeling after this, he's going to go like in 1 year extensions until he decides he's done. It's going to be a really like weird, awkward thing, but the team's just going to have to go with it because they're going to have no choice. Do we think that we can convince Jeremy Swayman to be like of the same mind as Sidney Crosby, just like sign for $1 million because it makes sense with his jersey number? Or
that's what I'm gonna hold. I think that's super possible, super realistic. Definitely seems like that's probably what's gonna happen here. Dude, I was out with my buddy Evan Marinofsky. He works for the Hockey Journal out here. He's been doing Bruins beat for a long time. And we were like talking about like projecting the Bruins, and every 2 seconds we'd have to come back. That being said, we have no fucking idea who the starting goalie is as of right now. Like, we have no idea what's going on. So it's driving me nuts. I do love though that I can't remember that, like, Swayman's give a shit meter about this is clearly at like -50. He was literally like going up on stage. I can't remember the fucking band, but he was at a concert and he literally was on stage playing guitar, like here in Boston, like just hanging out. He's been around the fellas the whole summer. He's like, I don't know, it'll get done. So it's, I mean, obviously it's gonna get done, but it is driving me. It is so fucking annoying that it's just like every update is, no update. Status quo. And then it's like, so wait, but the last 17 updates were the same thing. And the last time we had any news, it was like, yeah, they're not really that close right now. I'm like, yep, that's about right. Like, well, fuck, that's not great. But you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. So yeah, hopefully, fucking, it would be great if by the time this ended, it was over, but it won't be, I'm sure. But it's fine.
Did they really think that he wasn't going to play hardball when they sent Ullmark away, and with how things have gone historically between the franchise and Swayman?
Oh yeah, well that's the thing too. Like, that's the other thing that I laughed. Like, I cannot believe that they traded Ullmark before they got this done, and it's like I'm quite confident that there's no way they were gonna be shocked by playing hardball and making sure he got every penny after he literally said that for 12 months. After arbitration, he was pissed and was like, that sucked. Don't want to do that. Gonna prove that I'm worth every fucking penny and that this isn't happening again. We're not doing this. So clearly they knew. And I'm confident whatever he signs, it's gonna be a very nice deal for him. And the Bruins are going to give more than I'm sure they would like, because that's just how it goes, but they have to. And he's a fantastic goalie. I don't think this is going to affect his play or whatever. And he's one of those guys, too, where it's not how there's always – it's actually one of my least favorite talking points every time someone signs their first big deal. It's like, oh, well, now that this always happens, the first few months, they don't play well because they finally got this off their shoulders. And it's like, this guy literally was just performing at a concert. I don't think he gives a fuck. I think he's fine. And if you've watched Swayman, listened to him in every interview since he was at UMaine, he is a pretty, my give a fuck meter is -7 at all times. So I don't, whatever. I don't, give him an 8-year deal. I would be great. I'd love that for me. Actually, not. I think last week I literally said I don't like that for goalies, but whatever. You know what? I don't care. I just want this done. Give him a 50-year deal. I don't give a shit. I just want this over with because it's driving me nuts.
Yeah. If he leaves,
I can't imagine they didn't see this coming.
Sorry, I think there's a lag. Of course. Jeremy Swayman, if he leaves anywhere in the near future, do they have to remove the Jeremy Swayman from Ray Bork's menu? That's really my only level of emotional investment in this.
I still can't believe we missed out. That would have been so great if we were sitting there one fucking day. What? Actually, what would have even been funnier if that dude was just lying to us? He was like, "Oh, he was here yesterday." Which is a very old school Boston guy lie. Oh yeah, he's here yesterday. You find out he's never been here. He's never been here.
Everybody. Ever. It's the reverse of the beer's free tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. It was every time someone comes in, oh, you like the Bruins? Dude, fucking Bobby Orr was here 20 minutes ago. I was oh my God, I missed him? He's oh yeah. Fucking everyone that walks in.
Oh man.
What? Got another one.
You just know that Boston is the team of all teams too, that part of the negotiation with Swayman, if he's asking for more than they're comfortable with, is we don't even know if you're going to make Team USA for any kind of international competitions. So,
league minimum, probably. I think would think that's probably fair.
$1 million jersey number. Be like said.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think? You're better than Sidney Crosby? What do you think? You're better than him? What do you think? You're better than me? That's it.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
That's the good stuff. Speaking of being like someone, I'm in a weird spot personally where it's been so long since Nebraska football has been competitive that I'm not sure how to handle their early success. Granted, they haven't played anyone that matters this year, and you probably don't give a shit about college football. It's hilarious being on the inside, but like the people on the outside, I can see where it's pretty psychotic that Dylan Raiola, true freshman quarterback for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, basically does everything in his power to be a Patrick Mahomes clone. Like has the same hair, same facial hair, dresses the same, has the same pregame routine, and like is just going out of his way to be Patrick Mahomes. And it's wild. Not weird.
Not weird. Wild.
He is wild.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of thoughts about this. Yeah, this is all this consumes my whole day. I mean, if you're gonna pick a guy to be exactly like, and you're a quarterback, I feel like Mahomes not a bad guy to try to mimic, I guess. But it is. I still think no matter how hard you try to be like someone, the hair thing is always gonna make me like, all right, bro, like, whoa, like, that's weird. I don't like that. Don't do that. But maybe just like have your own hair. Like you can do the hair. You can have some kind of autonomy with your own hair, bro. Like you don't have to fucking. Mm-hmm. You can do everything else though. Maybe I don't know. Unless you want to, whatever.
Does it make it better, or is it still the same that like Mahomes is all about it? Like he's literally posting about him, calling him a little cuzzo.
Oh, Mahomes is trying to be cool. Yeah, that makes
Well, they know each other.
Yeah, hello. Do they?
Yeah, no, they do. Oh, and the funnier thing is, how much of a cuck does Matthew Stafford feel like? Because he's Raiola's godfather. And he's like, no, I want to be just like Mahomes.
Oh.
It's so good.
That one hurts. That cuts deep. That cuts deep. Oh my God. Yeah, right. It's like, well, fuck. Yeah. We're at that. No, then Stafford's like, me too. Then all of a sudden he shows up with the same fucking haircut. It's like, hey, wait a minute. This is more sad now. This is way more sad now that Stafford's also trying to be like Mahomes. Right? Like, time's come and go. Kind of, not really.
I know you don't pay much attention to the NFL. Stafford's gonna have a long ass year. It's not gonna be good. But yeah, couldn't resist that one. It's gonna keep getting weirder and weirder, but for now it's kind of funny just because it's pissing everyone else off so much. That's my take.
But then I'm all about it. I love it then.
All right. Shane Pinto has come out and said that he is betting his house on a Matt Boldy blow-up year. An almost direct quote that was just slightly altered, given to Michael Russo.
Oh, it's on, but it was all working so well, and then the second we started, it all went to shit. I got most of that, but I don't even know if anyone can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm just gonna keep going. That's pretty good. The first thing that I thought about was like the Senators being like, yeah, let's send Shane Pinto to do a huge media thing. So I was like, that takes some balls. I was like, I wonder what literally everyone's going to ask him immediately. But I mean, what he said about Matt Boldy is what everyone, I mean, I don't really know how familiar people are with how good Boldy's been since he entered the NHL outside of Minnesota. I mean, even in Minnesota, he like will catch flack for the sometimes being like somewhat streaky or whatever, which is always funny to me. I'm like, dude, he's been in the league for like 2 or 3 years. Like, we're really gonna like label him already here, but like on a team that's been pretty not awesome. But the only thing that's just like, yeah, if he wants to go off this year, obviously that's great. But like, it's gonna be not. Minnesota's gonna be really good. I feel like they still really have to work for some offense here. So I could see him. Yeah, like he is that age where it's like he's not obviously not at his peak yet. He's only getting better, but at the same time, it's just like, what's he working with this year again? Like who is he going to play with all year long? Is there going to be any kind of consistency from start to finish? Probably not with how the last couple of years have gone in Minnesota. And just given the fact that like their top six tends to be just like somewhat of a revolving door with one or two guys. But I mean, when you look at the profile of player, the size, like the dual threat offensive capabilities, and the fact that he plays such a good two-way game, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he like really, really did pop off this year. I think he said something like 90 to 100 points. That feels maybe a tad out of reach, but like 80 wouldn't be shocked. I mean, what do you have last couple of years? He's been 30, 35 goals, something like that, in around there. So I think he should be able to at least match what he's been doing. And again, his age, like you're only expecting to get better. So I mean, yeah, if he really all the way off, wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world. My only question is just like how much of that's going to depend on the consistency of his line mates.
Yeah. And last 2 years for Boldy, 63 and 69 points.
Love that.
So, I mean, 82 is probably the number that most fans are going to have for him this year. Like, can he hit that or not? And a lot of that, may or may not.
Per game guy.
Fans don't want to hear this, but a lot of that might not be in his control.
Well, the other thing, too, is just like, what's the power play going to look like this year? You know, like, Eriksson Ek has somehow, despite having a handful of like super flashy plays every season, like he's scored a couple highlight reel goals in the past, but for the most part, almost all of his points are coming from him working his fucking bag off in and around the net. Like, and then on the power play, pretty much still doing the same thing. I mean, I think he's led them in power play goals before, or had like what either first or second in power play goals the last couple of years, despite the fact that he lives out just like outside / most of the time, honestly, inside the crease and just like going to fucking war and winning all of these battles. But if their power play can just be a little bit better, then you got to think there's even more points out there for Boldy. But like, I haven't even looked at like what his even strength versus power play point, like what the difference is. But like, imagine if they had just a league average power play. And I feel like automatically, as one of the go-to guys for offense, his points would jump up even more so. So, we'll see what it looks like this year. Hopefully Declan Gisholm can really put his stake in the ground here as like the first option, the power play, because I think he absolutely has that in his bag, especially given the lineup. But if they can have a consistent power play that's just like league average, you're going to see a jump in points for Boldy, I think. So, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, in the last 2 years, 25 and 26 power play points. So there's definitely more to be had there. How much more and will we see an elevated power play group is definitely hard to say. But this Thursday, we're going to see the first glimpses. We've got training camp right around the corner. Anyone that has like some burning questions going into training camp, definitely go to the link that I dropped in here in the comments. Right. Go let us know what you want Russo and Joe Smith to cover leading up to Thursday. I don't know, Z, are there any things that you're like either most curious to see or even just specific things you want to see, whether it's on special teams or how lines are constructed? Like what are you most looking forward to on Thursday?
I mean, I think special teams for me is always going to be one of the first things I'm looking at in the preseason. Just like, can it be any different at all? Because like, it hasn't just been a problem. It has been like a borderline Achilles heel the last couple of years, where it's just like they haven't, again, not just bad, like legitimately atrocious. So I do want to see what the special teams units look like. I don't know how much of the regulars we're going to see in the first game, I guess, but and I mean, it kind of feels like I think we've got a pretty good idea, at least for the first 10, 15 games. I think everyone's got a pretty good idea of like what the lines are most likely going to look like out the gate, assuming everyone's fully healthy. There's going to be maybe one or two guys up and down the lineup in different spots. But I think we have a pretty good idea of like generally where the lines will end up. Like I do think, especially at the gate, we're going to see Hartman on that first line with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. We're going to see Boldy with Eriksson Ek, and I'm sure they want to have Johansson there to have that somewhat of a bounce back year. I'm sure Rossi's probably going to start that third line. What's going to be interesting, though, is like the third line, actually, to me, the idea of like Rossi, Foligno, and Trennan is fascinating because like when you go back, again, Rossi put up, 21 goals this past season? A lot. Like, it's not like he was relying on being in the top six to produce goals. Like, he had a couple nice ones. He had a couple that was just him working his balls off again, a couple like redirects. Like, and again, he's shown himself to be a very good, he has always been. That's why he got drafted so high. The two-way capabilities plus the offensive upsides, why he got drafted where he did. And that's another guy that you're expecting him to take another step after such a monster year last year. But the third line, to me, could be pretty interesting if it does start with Trennan, Rossi, and Foligno. And I mean, when Foligno was healthy, he was playing really well last year. It's just like he literally could not go more than like 10 games without getting some kind of like minor to like pretty substantial, I guess, setback and like missed large chunks of time. But he can still play, assuming he's healthy. So we'll see, I guess. But I do think we have a general idea / like, I feel like we do know what the lines are going to be out the gate. So we'll see how many regulars again play, how many games like the top guys are going to be playing in the preseason, and whether it's more towards like the first few versus the back end of the preseason. But I feel like we've got a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like out the gate, and that's fine. But we'll see. The special teams are what I'm going to be looking at.
Yeah. I'm sad that there's just less and less of a future here for Marco Rossi, who, to your point, 21 goals, 19 assists last year. And I don't know what more he has to show to get an opportunity. And granted, like, deep lineup, whatever. The fact that you're going to, like, give Ryan Hartman the first look over Marco Rossi, like, I don't know. I feel like it's better if you tell Hartman he's got to earn it for him. And like, I don't know. It's hard for me to put Rossi on that third line. Plus, just thinking about the mayhem that would ensue from a Trennan, Hartman, and Foligno line is just hilarious to me. That would be way too fun. But you look at all the talk now with like, Yurov is probably a center. He's going to be in the top six. Rossi's gone. He's gone.
I'm pretty surprised with how the narrative around the Yurov playing center thing really has taken off, to the point where, like, I feel like it was a couple weeks ago, I was listening to Russo and our boy Tony talk about this. It like the fact that, and again, once Russo says it, it's like, okay, that's at least like 90% most likely like solid fact. But like even he was mentioning that he's looking like the Wilder player, him playing center, is really, really surprising to me. again, like, this is a kid who played mostly on the wing his whole life, had opportunities playing at center and looked really good. Obviously, like, he's a really solid playmaker. Most of his offense last 2-3 years before he got drafted was pretty much him, like, creating offense for himself more so than, like, playmaking for his whole line. This last year was the first time we saw him get legit substantial center, like, minutes playing center in Metal League's top 6. They won the, what was it, Gagarin Cup, whatever. KHL champion. But even then, like, even the playoffs, he was still going back and forth between wing and center. So I am surprised that it's, like, become a pretty common, or, like, the narrative has really shifted towards, like, when he comes over, they're planning on him playing center. And I get it. He's got, like, crazy offensive upside. He's shown the playmaking. He's playing, like, a good amount of center in the KHL right now. Or, well, not right now because he's hurt. But I'm more just surprised that it's been like, yeah, no, they are absolutely planning on him playing center. And, like,
yeah,
that's the plan. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean,
he's playing center, and Spacek is going to be first D pairing.
The spot check there. I will never drop that. It's like, it's crazy.
It feels bad too, because it feels like we're shitting on him, and we're not at all. It's just so funny how much clout there has been around that name of late that it's just fascinating to me. I have nothing against the kid. I'm excited. I think that there's a potential, like, future in the group for him, but I'm not as high on him as others, apparently. I don't know.
It's, again, like you said, like, since I've been doing this show, like, everyone knows I feel super weird about, like, coming off like I'm shitting on a fucking, like, 18 or 19 or 20-year-old fucking hockey player. But, like, sometimes, like, these narratives just get so out of control. I'm like, whoa, let's hold on. Like, let's take a second here. Can we all just come back? Like, the thing I come to is, like, yeah, he's a right shot. He's bigger than most of the D prospects they have. And, like, he's shown some offensive upside. There's a reason he got drafted in the 5th round as an overager. Like, there's still some pretty, like, big gaps in his game. Now, international tournaments, he's gone all the way off for Czechia. He's been great. So I get that. Like, obviously that's the one, like, those tournaments are always going to get a ton of shine over, like, playing the fucking QMJHL or the AHL this past year. But, like, that's another one where I'm like, wow, it feels like we really are jumping the gun here. But, like, hey, if it works out as well as everyone is, like, suggesting that they think it's going to, like, that's fantastic. I love that. But it's always interesting when it's just like he has jumped over guys like Carson Lambos or anyone else, really, as far as, like, projecting, like, a potential for him in the future, like his ceiling in the NHL or in the Wild lineup. Like, he's still got a ways to go as well. Like, he's not like he's not going to get games this year. Like, that would be, actually, if he does, that's a big problem. But I do think he's going to be an NHL player. He's going to be a pretty good, like, power play option. And, like, he's got the size, the fact that he's a right shot, the mobility is fascinating. Like, sometimes it looks amazing. Sometimes you're like, how did you get this far behind that guy? But the fact that, like, again, it's just, like, the narrative around, like, yep, he's going to be, like, top 4, like, dynamic power play. I'm like, whoa. Okay. I mean, I believe in the kid. He's an NHL player. He's gonna be good in the NFL. It's like, all right.
It's just like what I did when I was making the graphics for our prospect pool rankings, where I typed in David Spacek and up pops his teammate for Czechia. And everyone's like, yeah, that's who he is. That would be the rational way to explain this to me. It's like, oh, shit, he's the other Czechian. That makes more sense.
Oh, yeah. It is, like, it's just, I mean, whatever, you know. It is what it is. This is how it goes, like, doing the prospect thing.
Well, and you know, too, that Yurov, the only reason that he pivoted to center and has really locked into it is because he saw the praise that Huznadinov got for winning 2 faceoffs. It's like, that's all I got to do? All right.
He's like,
In.
holy shit, dude. He saw that post game immediately. His head goes, I am gonna make $200 million fucking dollars playing center in Minnesota.
Oh shit. Last NHL piece here before we transition for what will be the second audio episode of the week in Prospect Talk, which we already kind of dabbled in. We see here on the outline news per LeBron, Lucas Raymond supposedly signing an $8.075 million AAV over 8 years. 10-team no trade. Immediate reaction, Z.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? They can lock him in at 8. I think that's great for them. I mean, like, he pretty much stepped right into the NHL, scored 30. I do think he's got a whole lot of room to even get better. So, I mean, you're looking at a kid who could potentially, he should be a kid that's well over a point per game, especially at his peak in the NHL. So $8 million for 8 years. I get trying to lock him in now. And like his profile, like that's a guy that like, if you wait until they're 26, 27, 28 to give them that long-term deal, it's a $10 million player potentially. So I don't have a problem with an 8x8. I mean, again, he's super fucking young. What's he, 23? Not even?
22, not even at that. He is 22.
Yeah, so I mean, he's already shown that he can score 30 goals. You're looking at a kid that can flirt with 40, 45, plus his playmaking ability. It's not like he's a like all offense guy either. Like, and he plays fucking hard. Like, I mean, anytime like a guy that's from any of the like Euro wingers who put up a ton of points early, you're always like, oh, like you have to see if they can really handle like how hard it is to play in the NHL. Like, no, he's shown that he's more than capable of like being physical, absorbing contact, dealing with contact, avoiding contact, dishing some out himself. Like he can play. So I don't have a problem with like betting on a kid like Lucas Raymond, especially when it's 8 years, $8 million, with how much some of these other guys are getting. So I don't have a problem with that at all, actually.
I only have a problem with it in the context of how
Sider's going to get.
Well, that's it, the thing, right? It's in the context of how the Yzer plan is all coming together. This is definitely higher than I expected. I also didn't think that he was going to get an 8-year deal, so that certainly plays into it. I liked him in his draft year. I've liked what I've seen. I'm not convinced he's that guy, though, right? Like, are you fully convinced that he's a first-line winger? And are you still with me? Yeah, we've lost Z, of course. Yeah, to Z's point, exactly where my thought process is going is it's going to be even more than this now. It's got to be more than this to lock in Moritz Seider. I just don't know how they're going to make all of this work. And Jordan says 19% shooting. That's always scary. I know that's a big regression concern for the Vancouver Canucks, who have several guys that were shooting in the mid to high teens. But I don't know. I like Lucas Raymond. I don't think it's an outrageous contract. We're going to try and add Z back here in just a second. But yeah, I'm not sure that he's an 8x8, like lock it in kind of guy, but he could certainly end up outplaying this contract just like we're expecting from Matt Boldy. I'm just not sure how Yzerman's going to make it all work now, giving out this kind of money. We'll see. Z has rejoined, but he's like a pure white screen, so we're just going to give him a second here. But of course, Mateo, how can we make this about the Wild? Boldy deal looks even better. It's not a bad thing. Hey, there he is. Maybe, kinda. Nope. Oh, boy. I think Z needs to get out of Boston so we can have real internet? Hi. How do you reply to everything I said?
I don't. I don't know. Great question.
Keep it brief. Like you were saying, how much is Seider going to make now? And my question to you before, like right as I was losing you, do you think that Lucas Raymond is a no shit first line winger?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced. I think that he absolutely can be. I'm not convinced he is yet.
Well, I would say he's pretty close to being there right now. On the Red Wings, he absolutely is.
I'm talking in the league, though. You know,
no, I know. Mean. Yeah, and I would say he's definitely on the cusp of it. I would probably on like a cup-winning team. Yeah, he's probably on your second line right now. But like, as far as like production goes, you're still leaning on him incredibly. And he's one of your go-to guys for offense. And I mean, honestly, like I still think he is a solid two-way player as is, but that just happens to be a guy that can be a 30, 35 goal guy right now. So again, like, especially when you factor in, you're not just locking him up for what he is right now, how much better he's going to get. Cause like you said, he's only 22. Right. So like, I do think like there's a world where like he really, really pops off and he's scoring 40, 45. And at that point, yeah, he's at just scoring 40, 45 goals. You're absolutely an $8 million guy in my book anyways. But I do think that like, yeah, I would be shocked if he doesn't end up being like a surefire first line winger, just given how much, how well he's played already. Like, I mean, his first year in the league, it was insane. Like if he wasn't playing on a team with Mo Seider, he probably would have been right there for the Calder anyways. What did he finish? Like third or fourth in like voting that year anyways. So and then going over to Seider, he's got to be asking for 9 at least on a long-term deal.
I'm thinking mid-9s.
And he's shown that he can be a number one D-man, like two-way ability. The offense really pops. Like it was interesting last year, like year 2 in the league, like he started playing the season. His deep partner was fucking Ben Sherratt, and it went horribly. And then for whatever reason, they traded him for nothing. Then he started playing with Jake Wallman, and all of a sudden he was Mo Seider again, to the exact player that we saw in his rookie year. So I think if you're looking at, yeah, that's exactly like that. It still blows my mind. That one still is.
They didn't pay to get rid of him.
It is like that is crazy. Like we talked about this at the time. There must have been other teams like, yo, what the fuck? Yo, I would have fucking whatever you wanted. Like if you're gonna pay to get rid of that guy, but whatever. But Mo Seider, I do think, has shown already that he, like, again, that's another kid. He's only going to get better. He's a right shot defenseman who puts up like offensive numbers. He can run a power play. And you see him when he is well, actually, he just always plays physical. That's just how he plays. But like, he is a fucking beast. So, I mean, I'm sure if on a long-term deal, he's probably going to be like the number starts at 9. And if you're Detroit, like, yeah, of course, like number one D-man for the next like 15 years. Yeah, lock him in. Like what? Like if you can get him for 9.5 on an 8-year deal, I think you just do that. No questions asked. Like that should get done pretty quick. I mean, he's right in
negotiating with Yzerman.
Well, yeah, that's like I'm sure whatever they land on, he's going to be. It'll get there. It's just like you're dealing with Steve Yzerman, so the whole process is going to be annoying. And I'm sure everyone just wants to get done right now, obviously, like any of the other young players. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at Mo Seider, like I don't know how the number doesn't start at 9. What do you think the difference is if he's a left shot? I love the left shot versus right. It's my favorite. Like it's like, oh, he's a right shot. All right, well the number's up 1.5 from what we would have got if he was a left shot. It is my favorite thing in the world.
I'm waiting for the overcorrection though. Like we talk about all of these like 9-year-olds that are getting traded in the CHL. there's going to be an overcorrection where parents are like raising their kids right-handed, and there's going to be such a shortage of left-handed D that like all of a sudden the premium is going to shift, and it's like, all right, if you're a left-handed defenseman, we're giving you the bag. I just want to know what year, like, over under for the year that occurs. I'm saying like 2037 is like roughly where the bell curve hits.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, I mean, we pretty much like everyone on the planet is the right shot. It was always like it was a couple. Well, not even at this point. It wasn't even a couple years ago. It was like probably 6 or 7 years ago. I remember like there was an active switch in the NHL where it's just like these right shots are kind of like disappearing. And I think it was the Hurricanes. I like looked at their D core and like their 9th D was the only right shot they had. I was like, holy shit. Or like maybe it was just Justin Falk, actually. I think about it. Maybe he was the only one at that point.
It's because they were budget shopping. They couldn't afford any right-handed defensemen.
It was great. I was like, holy, like these guys, they're just disappearing. Like it's nuts, but like it is just so funny to me. The right shot thing has become like it's like oh he's a right shot. Dude. Oh my god!
Seth is still in one from celebrating his birthday over the weekend. Shout out Seth Topol, by the way. But 29.8 AAV for a right-handed defenseman. I guess I can't argue with the inflation.
If he's going with a discount anyway, a hometown discount.
Now, one thing that was during your whole internet existence, do you care that his 31 goal season being for Lucas Raymond came at a 19% shooting percentage when his career has been 12?
No, I still think it's somewhere in the middle. Like I bet long term, he's probably a guy with how good his shot is when he gets it off, where he gets it off from. That sounds weird. That sounds gross. Pause. But he strikes me as like a 16, 17, 18% shooter, to be honest with you. Like we saw the same thing about like David Pastrnak pretty early. And it was like the first that he put up 40, I want to say. And I think he actually that year shot like 19. And it was like, the last couple of years, he's been close to like 14 or whatever. And since then, he's remained right around 17, 18%. So when I look at like where Raymond's shooting from, the opportunities he gets, and how good his shot is, I think he's probably a guy that rounds out right around like 16, 17% anyways. So I don't really think that it shouldn't make his like overall like goal output year after year like diminish anything. So I still think he's, and like I mean I think last year he started quiet too, and then by the end of the year again he was just fucking ripping. So again, I think 8x8 for Raymond, 22 years old, showing what he's shown so far and like how much more room there is for him to grow. I think I would sign up for an 8x8 in a heartbeat for a kid like that. I mean, he's gonna. I
mean,
like the fact that his contract ends when he's 30. Like, yeah.
If you're saying that he's David Pastrnak, like, yeah, I'll give him the 8x8. I'll gladly.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown like he's popped off more than like Pastrnak did at his age, like at that age.
Dude,
but like. Do I think he's a guy that's going to be like David Pastrnak, put up 60 and 120 points? Probably not. Like he's probably maybe a notch below that. But I mean, there's a reason he got drafted 6th overall. And again, like 30. What you said, 31 goals his rookie year. That's ridiculous.
4th overall.
He was 4th overall. 4th overall. Sider was 6th overall. Sider was 6th overall.
I think Sider was 6 or 7. Yeah. And that was the one that people lost their minds over, like, oh my God, what a reach. And then they asked Eisman, like, yeah, so like what made you jump up to like reach for this player? He's like, I didn't reach for him.
Well, I remember that. He was like, what? He was
told you
confused by the question. He was confused by the question. He was like, I am. Guys, what did you think? We reached for him? We were thrilled. We were thrilled to get him there.
Dude, how about Pastrnak too? Like panicking and almost saying the wrong thing when asked what was a better party between his wedding and celebrating the gold medal.
He is the best. He, like, I'll tell you, it is so funny being in Boston where, like, everybody hates the Brew. Like, everybody hates us so much. And then, like, David Pastrnak's clearly the best player. He's one of the best players on the planet. And people are like, God damn it. Fine. Yeah, no, he's cool. He is the best. He is the man. God damn it.
Who
pretend like Patrice Bergeron doesn't exist either?
Who's more hated, Boston or Toronto?
I think Toronto is universally like, and like people have more fun when they lose because there's no one that hates the Toronto Maple Leafs more than the entire city of Toronto, which makes it just so much more fun. And I mean, I
need them to get a second team. I need it.
I know that. I think that might end up being my favorite team in the NHL.
Oh, I will jump on that bandwagon so fast, dude. What we really need to come up with is like, what is the best name that you could give to the second Toronto team?
The Leafs, just like accurately spell the name, like just do it correctly, like that's it. Like just.
Or what if they just lean fully into it and get like a bunch of cannabis endorsements and they're just the Leaves and it's the green?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I am all aboard.
Isha would be beside himself. He would be cheering for a Toronto team.
Of course, he would feel sick doing it, but he would have to.
Or no. Yeah. What if they were the maple trees?
The maple tree. Or just like the fucking redwoods, just the bigger, more badass tree. The fucking, which doesn't even make sense in Toronto, but Toronto like redwoods. Fucking the Toronto lumber.
I like this from Mateo, the Toronto blue collars.
Yeah,
although I don't think there's a world where they come in and what if they had a different color jersey though, and just the collar around was blue? I like that. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we could spend a whole episode on that. We're gonna move past it because we've still got more to talk about, but we'll transition then into prospect talk. Tom Kurvers prospect showcase. Again, Tom Kurvers, you're the best. But man, doesn't it suck that there's like so many cool players for the Blues and for the Blackhawks? Like, I look at the rosters and it's like, God, I'm like as excited to watch some of their players as ours, and they don't even have all the guys that I'm interested in playing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like these like prospect showcase events are always really fun. I'm disappointed that the Traverse City one really wasn't a thing this year. They've always had, like, Detroit's always hosted a very, 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 very fun one. They did not this year, but yeah, no, I mean this weekend in Minnesota, I mean, we can jump right, like the Chicago game, Frank Nazar. Oh my God. It felt like every time he jumped over the boards, every time he took the puck, he was walking somebody. He made some ridiculous. I think he hit the post a few times too, but he went all the way off. He looked very fun. And like you were saying before we actually started this live, like he's kind of a guy that's almost been like shit on. Maybe not shit on, but like, when you look at the fact that it was the year after he gets drafted, they get Bedard. This year, they go out, they get Levshunov, and plenty of other high-end prospects that are already there, whatever. Like, he's almost become somewhat of a forgotten guy and a guy that's been, like, discounted. He's went to Michigan, ripped it up at Michigan. He has not, like, I don't know if people remember the commentary around like the USN TDP team, his draft season, where I know plenty of people that liked him more than a guy like Cooley. Like he has ridiculous upside. And because he is technically a center that isn't 6 foot, he automatically like just gets that knock against him. But you watch him play, and I mean, he is an ankle breaker, the dual threat. He could score goals himself. He is like a little pit bull on the ice too. Like, he is not afraid of getting physical. He is such a fun player to watch, such a fun player to like cheer for too. It was him this year. I think it was in the tournament where like he went between the legs, cross ice sauce. I think it was against Michigan State. No, it wasn't against Michigan. Who were they playing? God damn it. What tournament game was that? It was like the second round or maybe. I don't know. But either way, it was ridiculous.
I think it would have been Michigan State.
I think it may have been, right? Yeah, I think it was. It was when they scored 3 goals in like a minute and a half. But he can drive offense. He plays such a good two-way game. He has just become somewhat of a forgotten prospect, or like a discount. Not even forgotten, more just like discounted for how good he really is. Just given like the profile of picks that they've had the last couple of years. But he looked like he was one of the most noticeable guys all weekend from when I was watching those games. But as far as Minnesota goes, though, you and I, again, we were talking about this before, Hunter hate.
Dude.
Woo!
Buzzing. I didn't watch day 2. I was definitely very in and out on day 1 for the Wild with kid duty and stuff. Did my best to clip things and get them out there for all the Twitter sickos, but hate stood out the most to me personally. From every time I watched, it seemed like he was doing something. Whereas a guy like Hunter or Riley Heidt, see, we're already getting into this shit. God damn it. Riley Heidt did not do anything wrong, didn't do anything to concern me. He just didn't stand out in a way that I expected him to. And sure, he scored a goal, whatever. Found himself taking a couple of penalties, like didn't do anything like I didn't see him do anything like bad. It was more just I was hoping that he was going to be the guy that took this weekend by storm. I didn't quite see that. I'm honestly like, I know it's 1 goal, whatever. I'm just really excited all year to follow what we get from a full healthy season of Caden Bank here. That guy is, fans are going to realize pretty quickly that this is the forgotten prospect. I'm very, very excited about him.
Yeah. So he scored both games, and he's such an interesting player. Like, he gets taken fourth round, 4th or 5th.
We're gonna find out.
Or was it 3rd? Now that I think about it, maybe been 3rd. Anyways, but gets drafted. Profile is like, yeah, he's got some playmaking ability, but he's just a super reliable two-way guy. It was a 3rd round pick, right? Yeah. Playing for Kamloops, and pretty much like a jack of all trades, master of none type guy. Then you're like his draft plus 1 season. I guess draft plus 2. Yeah. His last year at Kamloops. Yeah, whatever. Kamloops goes out the year they pick up Kyle Masters, which, goes off. But all of a sudden he's scoring like spinorama goals. He's going like goal every other game. I think he put up 40 that year. Again, like did not take any steps backwards as far as his like two-way play. He's super physical. He'll fight when he needs to fight. Like he, again, super reliable, low maintenance type player that like any situation you need him to do something, or any situation where you need some guy to step up, Bank here can be a guy that can be leaned on pretty heavily. Goes to the World Juniors in his season where he's going off as an offensive go-to guy in the WHL, goes and like not only makes that Team Canada World Junior squad, is on that fourth line, but is playing meaningful minutes. He's one of their go-to guys in the penalty kill, makes himself incredibly useful, and like makes that coaching staff keep him in the lineup. Then he just kind of continues on doing his offensive work of the WHL, gets hurt, comes back, gets healthy again, plays in the AHL. And I mean, he finished, I think, third or fourth on the Iowa Wild in points, like after missing the first third of the season. So like, we're just continuing to watch this like development arc where he's just getting better and better to the point where like, I think we all looked at him as probably like a bottom six, most likely a fourth line guy that can play really good, like two-way minutes. He's going to be like killing penalties for you. He should be like decent enough as like a face-off guy. But even if you have him at the wing, he's still going to be able to contribute like sparing offense. But again, like that two-way ability, specifically the defensive prowess, that's really where you're going to have a lot of value in a guy like Caden Bank here. But he continues to show that like there is some legit offense in there where it's like he could end up playing like a real meaningful role on your third line. Again, I don't think he even has to be playing center to be doing that either. Like the shot has taken, I mean, I think it was his second goal. Oh God, was it? No, it was game one. It was game one. Was it on the power play? That was a snipe. Like that was a rip. And that was something that he didn't really showcase a whole lot of in his draft year, but the shots just continued to get better and better. Where like he's a legit goal scoring threat. And I think he's like just elevated himself in this pool where it's like he's going to be one of the guys that's probably closest to being ready to get a look, like get some games in the NHL here, just because like the development arc is he's just fascinating. And he's got the size, the two-way play, and this untapped offense that we didn't really see a whole lot of in his draft year that's really coming out more often now. But the fact that he played as well as he did in the AHL last year on a very bad AHL team. Like that was a bad Iowa Wild team. And again, the fact that he played like 15 fewer games than pretty much everybody else and finished third, fourth or something in points and goals. I just think this like that just speaks to like how much he continues to improve year after year. So I'm excited to just keep tracking this guy. Like it's been fascinating. So good for him. And again, he's super young, so he's only going to get better.
We like that. We have to give at least like 30 seconds to Isha here because he got exactly what he wanted. Got exactly what he wanted. I love though. I didn't realize that Stevie Leskovar was in the OHL because the way that Isha has just been all over this guy's jock. I assumed he had to be from the Dub.
Yeah. And you know what's really interesting to me too? Is the fact that like I know that 90% of fans of this team had no fucking idea who Stevie Leskovar was when he got drafted. The amount out of curiosity, because he ended up getting in a fight against was it Will or Sam Bitten, whatever. Will Bitten? Whatever. By the way, Bitten was like, God damn it, do I really fine. And he's like got pumped a few times, and then they were like headlocked a little bit. They like both hit each other with like 12 uppercuts. It was a very funny fight in that game. But Bitten was like, God damn it, really, bro? Like, this is bullshit. I really don't want to be fighting you right now, but whatever. But like, just out of curiosity, I just typed into Twitter Stevie Leskovar. I had at least 15 people tweeting at Russo, hey, have you seen Leskovar? Like, he's making some plays. I think he's be ready to play pretty soon. I was like, holy fuck. Everyone loves him because he's a lunatic. And I mean, he was running around. There were a few hits where I was like, man, if he made good contact there, he somehow would have found a way to get suspended from like preseason hockey, because it was like 9 seconds after the puck was gone, but he was like just so far away when the guy got rid of the puck, but still finished the hit. And it was just very funny. But like, again, this is what we have said about him is when he wants to play hockey, when he chooses to play, he does a lot of things very well. He just happens to be a certified lunatic and is tough as fuck and loves to fight. And that's just like his favorite thing to do. But I mean, as far as like the baseline skill set, he's a big guy that moves pretty well. He makes a good first pass. Generally speaking, with the puck, he makes good decisions. He knows what he is. He knows what he's not. He's not going to try to do more than he's capable of. And like, he's not just out there like literally being like some kind of enforcer. Like, he can play. It's like you'll see him make plenty of good passes. He's not going to like make many bad decisions. He'll chase a hit when it's like someone dumping the puck and he wants to go finish a hit, but he's not chasing them around in his own end, like at the tail end of like extended D zone time where it's like, bro, please just stay in your spot. Like, he's not doing that, but he is like a decent enough player that there's something there. It's just, I just know for a fact the love comes from like the clips of him fighting in the OHL last few years. Like, he is all about that life. But it's been I was just so curious to see what the reactions were. It was like legitimately like 12 different people tweeting at Michael Russo. Like, yo, you see this Leskovar? Like, pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh, this guy fights too. But it was interesting. In that Blues game, I think halfway through I think by the end of the second, or the end of the first period, there had been like 2 fights. Then Lambos also fought, but in the second period, Lambos had a pretty good tilt. But I mean, that one got out of hand pretty quick. What's his face? Not Sam. Zach Bolduc for the Blues. He was the best player in that game. He was, I mean, breaking ankles, playmaking. Like, I think he got up.
How was Ricky?
3 points in that one. Ricky looked real good too. God, he is such a fun player. He's so good.
Damn it.
Yeah, that one hurt too. Zach Dean looked really good. The kid they got from Vegas. And I think that one finished, was a 6-2, I think.
I just thought of another team name for Toronto that would be very mean, but very fun. The Toronto Nordiques.
That one would hurt. Yeah. No. I think Seth said the Toronto Expo. Yeah, Seth said Toronto Expos.
Expos works too. Okay. Oh, yep. There we go. But the Nordiques, because you know that if Toronto gets it, Quebec's not. They're not putting 2 more teams in Canada. There's no way.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Not while Trudeau's in office.
Yeah, no, well, he's there, bro. Trying to think who else I had. It may have been about it. I mean, I thought all the defensemen honestly showed some flashes. Again, like, man, I am so curious to see what Iowa looks like this year. Like, if they can get better. Because I really just want to see Lambos given the fucking reins down there and like let that boy play. Like, I cannot emphasize enough the minutes that he played big time minutes in Iowa last year, and I would have to guess 80% of his starts were in the D zone. And like, he's shown again, like, it's so like, actually, after we did, I think 2 weeks ago, we talked about Pronman's prospect rankings, or was it last week? I think it was 2 weeks ago.
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
But yeah, so after we did that one, Elite Prospects came out with theirs. They talked about the Wild. I think they were pretty close, probably top 7 or 8, whatever, as far as the rankings go. But like, they said the same thing about Lambos. It's like when he was coming up in his draft year, like, again, like, the injury thing happened, missed a ton of time, went over to Finland. But he profiled as like a top offensive guy that like can move incredibly well. That isn't some kind of like black hole defensively. And like the last 2 years he played the WHL, he got leaned on pretty much exclusively for his defensive prowess. And I mean, he showed some physicality, well, plenty of physicality. The skating has only gotten better. Like, he is an incredible skater. And he's still at times, when he is like given some looks, whether it's on the power play or just like the few times they have the puck in the fucking offensive zone when he's on the ice, like that kid can walk a blue line. So I still think there's offensive upside in his game, and he is such a good defender. Like, there's such a good fucking player in there. And it's just been like interesting to see where he's found himself, like the teams that he's been on since being drafted, where it was like, yeah, the Winnipeg, they still kept that kid. Oh God, Nolan Orzik. He was like 20 or so. I thought he aged out of the WHL, played another year, and he was their go-to guy in the power play. And they pretty much had like Lambos killing all of their penalty. Like, he was out there for several full 2-minute PKs. Like, he was just living out there to do that as the captain, fighting everybody. And he like just kind of became, well, just wasn't leaned on very much for offense, still put up decent numbers, but was pretty much like a grinding defensive defenseman who just happened to be like an elite skater with incredible hands that, like, given the opportunity, can show you some offense. So I still, I don't know. I where the defensive prospect pool is going, where he finds himself is another one of those things to be super interesting to track here, just because I still think he's got like some of the most upside of all those guys anyways, just given the baseline of tools and the talent that's in there. It's just been a really weird like environment that he's found himself in since getting drafted. So I mean, he's going to play huge minutes again this year for Iowa. Like, he's already averaging like 26, 27, 28 minutes down there. Like, all so just fucking must have been like, Jesus Christ. Like, he's stepping over the boards like, oh my God, I cannot fucking believe this. But there is a hell of a hockey player in there that has a big time future still. It's just, again, this is what we talked about. Will it be here? Will it be elsewhere? I don't know. Because you can get a pretty good package for a guy like that if you decide that there's other guys that are going to leap ahead of him. So
you need him to have a good year this year, though, if that's going to be the case, right? Like, you're not getting that kind of return off of this past year, but you could say that about a lot of Iowa. What would you, not saying predictions, like, in a perfect world, you get to be GM for the Iowa Wild. What's your top 4 look like on the blue line? How are you arranging that?
It's like, oh, sorry, like this year, or is
This
like
year.
with the prospects?
Nope. This year in Iowa, what's your top 4?
Oh shit, in Iowa.
Yeah.
Probably.
Lambos isn't even part of it.
Well, no, Lambos, Hunt.
Well, Russo's burner.
Yeah, well, spot check will be in there. He'll probably be a 4 or 5 guy.
Would you put him on the second pairing or no?
I'm trying to think what that right side looks like down there. Because they didn't keep Johansson, whatever. You got Masters there, you got spot check there. Yeah, I mean, so like Lambos, Hunt, going back, maybe like O'Rourke.
We got Wills Molick, we've got David Spacek, Jack Peart, Kyle  Cameron Crotty, and Joseph Ciccone.
Yep. Yeah.
Who
So
are
I
you
guess it would
putting there?
be. Yeah, no, I'm going Lambos, Hunt, and then honestly, probably
O'Rourke Masters.
O'Rourke, either Masters or Pert, because O'Rourke's historically played a ton of right shot or right side, anyways. And that's another guy who's just been logging like 25. He plays even more so in his own end than like Lampa is crazy. And he's been just like solid all around, but like obviously the offense is not one of his go-to attributes anyways, but given the minutes that he logs, how well he plays defensively, like I think O'Rourke's gonna have to be in that top 4. So I'd say Lambos with Hunt, and then some combination of O'Rourke with Peart or O'Rourke with Masters. Masters will probably be on the third pair, but whatever.
Unfortunate. All right. Off the cuff too. First line. Not who will it be? Who would GMZ?
Oh, jeez, I didn't the roster. I can't. I don't want to pull up any other fucking tabs.
All right, we'll skip it. We'll skip it.
Itself. I'm trying. Gotta throw Bankier in there though. At this point,
Have to. Yep. I mean, bank your hate, right?
Okay. That's what I'm thinking. Fogarty left.
If he doesn't make the big squad, like Bankier, Hate, Ogren would be so fun.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I mean, Ogren, they can't. That's the thing. They can't fucking. They don't have money. Like, none of the prospects are making this fucking team. I am still so firm on. They're carrying 3 fucking goalies. They cannot. Like, Ogren's not making the team out of camp. Pike's not making the team out of fucking camp.
Is it for sure that they do that day one, though?
At this point, I think so, probably. Like, especially, like, moving forward. Like, they just don't have any way of, like, having any of these young kids on the fucking team.
So you're saying that Wallstead is not starting game 1 for the AHL Iowa Wild?
Probably not. I feel like they're gonna do this out of camp. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. They are in such a weird spot. Not only because of the buyouts, but because of some of these fucking contracts they decided. Like, it's a weird fucking. I was about to say cat friendly page. Nope. It's a very weird Puckpedia page. But yeah, no. Give me a fucking Iowa top line of fucking Hunter Hay, Caden Bankier, and Liam Ogren. That would be
so fun.
Probably super difficult to win with in the AHL, but that's fine. They're nasty. God, I don't know. Iowa's still going to be in one. Just given how like young the decor is. It's crazy. But it's all right. It'll be fun. It'll be great. Everyone's going to love it.
Right. Well, let's move on then. Tell me about how things kicked off in Liga.
Well, I'm gonna have to try to track what's going on with Kumpalainen again. But Rasmus Kumpalainen made his pro hockey debut for Loudoun Pelicans in Liga, and it went quite good. 2 goals and an assist, and then they went to a shootout. And in Liga, if he had converted in the penalty shootout, he would have been given the hat trick. Did not. They still won in the shootout though. But the first game
that was Pasternak's one request when he was interviewed by Friedman at the NHL media availability. If you could change one rule, what would it be? Game-winning shootout goal is goal.
Yeah, he's the best.
They do that in Europe. Do it here. He's like, okay.
Of course that's his. Like, of all the things he could choose. But Kumpalainen has just looked so fucking good. And like Very cool though that his first game, he had played a few Champions League games already with Pelicans, but his first game in Finnish Liga, playing for his hometown team, his debut, goes out, scores 2 goals, gets an assist, has a chance for the hat trick in a penalty shootout, but misses that one. But they still win that shootout. I gotta check if he's hurt. He didn't play in their last Champions League game against Skellefteå. Or not Skellefteå, he did play. He only played 6 minutes in that one. His last shift was in the second period. I just watched his last shift before he jumped on. I didn't see anything that would have suggested an injury, but he hasn't played since. So I don't know if there was something nagging. Maybe took a hit in the first or second period there. But either way, he's looked real good in the short or the small sample size we have playing pro in Finland. He's been playing primarily on the wing, but he has been given a whole lot of responsibility as far as like he's played a ton of PK. He's on their second power play unit. And I mean, he just looks like an incredibly mature hockey player. Again, like his game kind of does suit itself quite well to the Finnish Liga. It's just like the lack of foot speed, but like the ridiculous hands, the skill, and how smart he is and his two-way capabilities. I mean, also with his size. But he has looked real good for Pelicans. Hopefully, if he is hurt, it's like a long-term thing. Again, I'm gonna have to go and watch every one of those shifts in his last game, but he's looked really good. Sebastian Swinia, Ilves has not played a Liga game yet. They've only played Champions League, and they've gotten the absolute shit kicked out of them every fucking game. So his stats do not look great. And from what I've watched of Ilves in those games, more of the same, where it's like you just see so many flashes of like, yep, that's why at one point he's been looked at as like a pretty high-end prospect when you look at the right shot D-band, the size, how well he moves. And there is some kind of offense in there somewhere. It's just still the decision-making at times finds himself out of position here and there where like the mistakes are pretty glaring. And some of the things that he does really well maybe go under the radar a little bit. So like, if you're really like watching a game and just zoning in on him, you're going to come away with a mixed bag as is. Stat line, again, does not look great. But I still think that just like the baseline layer of tools there's still a player in there that like long-term, there should be an NHL prospect somewhere. It's going to take a little bit. I think he got rushed into pro hockey too early, but we'll see. And then Kivi Harju's played 2 games with HIFK. I don't know if it's like, I don't know how to actually say it, but whatever. Again, mixed bag with him. Like he's made a couple of real nice defensive plays. Again, against like the rush for a kid his size, he is not afraid of getting physical. Hasn't been a whole lot of offense out there for him to go and like put up any points or whatever. But you still see him make a few plays. Like not the fastest, like the foot speed isn't really there, but the lateral mobility and his like how agile he is on the ice, like it is very fun to watch. And again, like in transition, like there are times where like I think he skates backwards faster than he skates like going forwards. It's fascinating, but you see the hands. He's an incredibly smart player. He 99% of the time he's making really good decisions with the puck, especially like breaking out of his own end. And like escapability is like impressive, escaping the forecheck against guys that are like literally like a foot and a half taller than he is. So you still see flashes of the upside there. Again, it's only been 2 games or so, regular season anyways, playing in Liga, but enough there to like. So that's that's really in terms of like actual games prospects that played, and it's only been Finland. Yurov's still hurt, and I don't think people will count Guzkov anymore. So in the KHL, so that's that.
I mean, counts more than first off, but fair enough. All right, 2 quick ones then to round out prospect talk for the week. Footnote, I guess, is that Matt Schaefer going to miss a little bit of time with mono, but wanted your opinion here because I know there's some pretty highly touted forwards in the 2025 draft class. What's the ceiling for Schaefer as far as how high he could go, given that some of these teams that'll be picking top 5, top 10 have already kind of bolstered their forward groups?
Am I back?
You're back.
There we go. I know. Yeah. Okay. No, I got it. Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. Matt Schaefer again. The last time we talked about him was right after Hlinka. He was probably, if not the best player at that tournament, he was easily the best defenseman at that tournament. And after that, we came on here and I said, like, I actually, going back when we did our preseason, like way too early, like lottery top 2025 guys.
7 or 8, right?
No, I had him probably. Well, he's definitely my first defenseman off the board.
Yeah.
Maybe I did have him around 6 or 7 or whatever. I don't know. But he's put himself absolutely in a position to challenge for first, second, third overall. I mean, I still think at this point it's James Hagen's first. I mean, it definitely is Hagen's first off the board. But as far as like when you look at the positional need, how fucking good this kid is and how young he is, I don't know why I didn't have
8
Schaefer in my list. I did have him at 8. That's fucking nuts.
He was your first defenseman, though. I mean, he was right behind Roger McQueen. The first I'm going to defend you on that because, I mean, name alone.
Yeah, name alone. That's a that's a franchise.
I mean, here I'll give you the rundown just to make you feel better because you're probably not going to back down on it. James Hagens, Porter Martone, Anton Frundell, Ivan Ryabkin. That's probably still your top 4. Then it's Michael Misa, Jacob East-Wozniak, Roger McQueen, Matthew Schaefer. Would you change any of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably putting Schaefer right in that anywhere from 3 to 5 range at this point.
You'd put him above Frundell.
He could. I mean,
where would you put him? Not knowing what team is there, where do you rank him?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like just right now, he's probably going in my own list, like anywhere from 3 to 5. Yeah. I mean, Frondell's also hurt again, of course. And of course now Schaefer has mono. But I mean, after the Hlinka, I think all of us who have like covered these prospects for a while were like, wait a minute, why didn't we have him? Like the whole thing was like, there's a 3-headed monster at the top that's gonna be challenging for first overall. It's James Hagens, it's Porter Martone, Anton Frondell. Like they've been long looked at as the guys that like had a shot to go first. Hagens right now, and realistically for the last like year or two, has had like a leg up on both of those guys. But everyone, all of us, like the commentary around a kid like Matt Schaefer is like, how is this kid this good, this smart of a player at his age? And after the Hlinka, it kind of, I think everyone was like, we probably should have been talking about as like a 4-person race for first overall because how good this fucking kid is, how like he plays such a fucking pro game already. And I've said this a million times, or every time we brought him up, he's barely eligible for this draft. Like he is like a week and a half away from being eligible for 2026, and he is this good. And the fact that he plays D, and he is like the modern day dream for a GM. Like as far as a defenseman goes, he's a kid that's going to be playing on your power play. He's going to be your first go-to guy as far as a PK goes. He's going to be logging in the NHL like 28, 29 minutes a night, like his whole fucking career. Like he is fucking incredible. So it sucks that now he's going to miss some time with some mono here, and hopefully he doesn't like have any like lasting long-term things with him because I mean everyone knows how mono works. Like you never really know when it's like fully, completely out of your system. How long
I don't think anyone knows how mono
get all the
works.
way back to your full health or whatever. That's the thing. So hopefully it's not like a legit long-term, like long-lasting thing that just like can't get rid of or whatever. But this is a kid, like he's going to be challenging for 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, well, not even 5 at this point. He's firmly in that conversation, I think. So
yeah,
and he is fucking incredible. He's so fun to watch, dude.
You put Logan Hensler right behind him. Do you think that he is even remotely in the same tier as Schaefer, or is it kind of a clear divide between Schaefer and everyone else and on the blue line?
I think at this point, from what we've seen realistically, in the big, and which really was just like the Holinka and some preseason action order. I think the offensive profile for Hensler is what makes him jump so high. But I do think right now Schaefer is just, he is on another level. Just the all-around game. Like, you want to talk about a guy that has like an A game, and like his B game is still like lowercase a. It's still fucking incredible, where it's like, hey, we don't need him to do anything offensively, and he still might end up being the best player on the ice right now. Like, that's just, he is that good. Hensler has some pretty big woes as far as like the defensive end goes and some of that decision making, but offensively he's a dynamo, and he moves incredibly well. He is the right shot, right? Yeah. But Matt Schaefer, realistically, like, I think he really did separate himself once we got an opportunity to see him at the Holinka, especially. But yeah, I know I have him probably right now on a different level than any of the other defensemen for sure.
Okay. Even though he's left-handed and Hensler's right-handed. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Last one then. Oh, go ahead.
It'll be interesting too to see what happens with Ryabkin, the Russian kid, because I mean, so far the first few games here, he's getting the Urov treatment, where like he's just sitting on the KHL bench and it's driving up a fucking wall.
So the Wild could get him in the 20s.
I don't know why they fucking do this in Russia. Yeah, exactly. He's so fucking good. I don't know why they let these kids just sit there. Like, I think the last game he had 47 seconds of ice time. And it's like, what are you actually getting out of any player that you have on your bench for all but 47 seconds of ice time? I don't get it. I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me. But it'll be interesting to see if that factors in. If that doesn't change all year long, you're going to see other players like jump him probably. Like, just naturally, we don't really get to watch him play actual hockey. And there's no international games with Russia anyways, so that's going to be one thing to track too.
Yep. All right, last prospect piece then. And this one will probably scare Isha a little bit. We have our first WHL verbal commit to go the path of NCAA hockey. Braxton Whitehead going. I think the best part of this to me is that I genuinely think that ASU could just become like the Canadian de facto powerhouse, because, oh my God, what better campus to go to and just rip it up if you're a junior hockey player, bonehead from Canada. That sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, Carter Hart is not allowed.
Okay, we did go all the way there. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the next year or two there's like a run on guys making the transition. But like you said, first official guy going from the WHL to college. It just sounds weird. That is crazy. So it'll be interesting to just like kind of see that like downstream effect of maybe guys that were going to play college hockey and had like a mid to bottom six type role coming in. If there is a big time run on CHL players coming to the NCAA, if they have that leg up, how that affects, like, I mean, think about guys that are committed like 2 years out.
Yeah.
I wonder if that play, like, if they start seeing wherever they're committed, if they start bringing in a couple CHL guys every year, it's just like, okay, hold on a second. I knew I was competing with my own recruiting class for ice time when I get there, but like, what is now? We have a whole other fucking. There's 3 different leagues that we're competing with now,
totally.
As far as guys I can pull from. So it's gonna be interesting.
I think there's a couple layers to this, because end of the day, if we look 10 years out from now, and this means like you've got a USC, an Oregon, a UCLA, those types of teams making the jump to play actual D1 hockey. I think this has been a great development. If there is no expansion and we just have muddied waters and there's no more true freshmen playing, I don't like it. But
Right.
I think the interesting wrinkle going the other way is, our CHL teams going to get a lot more American players going and playing to have higher competition before jumping D1 instead of going USHL.
Right.
It's going to be interesting both ways. I don't know, but I'm fascinated to see how it works out. But yeah, if this means expansion of college hockey, then bravo, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Because I don't know, it'll be interesting to see like the actual number of guys. Because I mean, realistically, like the top caliber CHL, like they're staying. Like they're not going to make the. I don't think they're going to make like. You got to think there's some component in this when they make the jump. It's like, literally, there's going to be guys making this jump to go to college, knowing that the NHL is a long shot. So I wonder just how many, like, the actual number of total prospects making that jump is going to be interesting, I guess, because like there's a range of factors to do this, like, or reasons to do it.
How many overagers is the real question.
But like, as far as the top end guys go, like yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, like you said, though, if it means that we're going to get more college hockey teams at big schools, then yeah, cool. I don't really know how much of a factor they'll play, but like, I don't know. It'll be interesting, I guess. But I just don't know how many, like, yeah.
What's the funniest college to all of a sudden become a powerhouse because of Canadians coming down and playing for them? Like, trying to think like big teams for other sports, like Alabama becoming a powerhouse hockey team.
Texas,
Nebraska,
Ole Miss.
I don't think that's
like really random schools that I know. I think like really random schools that I know, like Santa Clara University.
Oh, like, UC Santa Barbara, the Dirtbags.
As a guy that played college soccer, that place,
you know,
is
what,
nuts for soccer. But
Iowa could be fun though.
Oh, I didn't even think about going that route.
That could be fun.
Oh my god, the Dorkmaster 94. Hawaii, that's ridiculous, dude.
Yes, that's the winner. That's the winner. That's the one I needed.
The first ever team that would go like 5 years before they ever lost a home game or won an away game. Like, you know, like any team, like, God fucking damn it. It took so long to get here. The time zone is crazy. I don't even know what day it is. Are we sure we're even here on the right day?
Dang.
Hawaii would be undefeated at home.
I mean, just like Arizona State and UNLV. I think those are the two that are the most interesting to me that like kind of currently exist. But Hawaii is the most fun, no doubt. Man, that's a good one. Let's see. What about like basketball? North Carolina, Duke, Syracuse. Those could all be fun. Nope. I think Clemson would be a good one. I could see that working.
Yeah, Clemson.
I'm also guiltily just like trying to find great jerseys.
Oh, yeah. Gonzaga.
Oh, Gonzaga. That's a good one.
I don't know.
Watch Arizona State become a powerhouse as the Coyotes leave.
Literally. They have to get a bigger arena. They have to get a bigger arena. They have an NHL-sized barn. Now that the guys that suck at hockey are gone, we're building a 20,000 seater for the college hockey team.
Utah. That could be another hockey team for college. Utah. I like it. Damn it. That's so good though. Oh shit.
I feel like Utah would miss the initial wave. They have to build a bigger
arena to support this team.
It would be.
Oh, thank you. That's what that. I don't think there's a better way to end this episode than that. That's perfect.
Yeah, we can end it on that one.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We did it.
Yeah, we did it with only like 7 internet outages. That's good.
The internet was at least not as horrific as last week. Last week was a new record of just like 2 minutes and be like, yeah, so we should probably rain check on this one. And we still somehow ended up making it, but like whatever.
Yeah.
But trying to think. Yeah, so next week we'll have like USHL starts, WHL starts, QMJHL starts. We have NHL preseason hockey. The Swedish Hockey League starts.
Next week's going to be unhinged. Got it.
Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, that's about it. But
Love that.
That's all we got. I mean, shocking. Like, this one actually will be shorter than usual. And here we are, an hour and 40 fucking minutes later.
I've stopped combating you when you say that.
No, even in my own head, I was like, wait, no, this one does feel like one that shouldn't be super long.
Yeah. And then we got the Lucas Raymond update, and that took 20 minutes.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, blame him. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck that guy.
Eisman caving like a bitch. All right.
Yeah, what a loser. What a coward.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you all next week then on what? Next week will be 131. Gretzky plus Backstrom. Oh,
that one cuts.
Oh, Gretzky plus Staylock. To Staylock.
Staylock. Ah, fuck yeah.